Hello, my name's Sydney Stevens. I'm a student at Michigan State University, and I'm going to be doing another Blueprint episode today. Today's topic is on resumes, and so I'm just going to share some advice that I've heard from my professors and things I've heard in my classes. And by no means is this the only way to do it and the best way to do it. You can do it many, many ways, and I'm sure that you'll still get hired, but this is just what I've heard. So interpret it however you would like. But the first question I'll be answering is, should you list your school and major above your work experience when formatting your resume? And I think this is a question that's more specific to the individual, because what I've heard is if you have enough experience in your respected field, like you have internships, and then it's okay to put your experience first. But maybe you haven't had an internship yet. Maybe you're going to apply to your first internship and you need a resume to apply. Then I would say put your school first. So essentially, if you don't have enough experience, put your school first. If you have enough experience and you feel comfortable, put your experience above your school. Another thing that a lot of my classmates and myself, I ask about GPA. Is it necessary to have that on the resume? And I don't think it's something that hurts you, but I don't think it's something that's necessary. All of my professors say that nobody really looks at GPA. It's just not important. But, you obviously can list it. I don't think it hurts you. If you've done an honors program and you feel really proud and you've worked really hard, then I don't want to discourage anyone from adding their GPA, but it's just not necessary and it takes up space on your resume. So if you're trying to clean it up and save space, then maybe don't include your GPA. Another thing is like font and size of the font. One thing that I've heard is, do a sans serif font, something that's easy to read. You don't have those extra bends and hooks with the letters, so it's a little bit smoother to read. I heard that the Applicant Tracking Systems also do better with a sans serif font. And for the people who don't know, an Applicant Tracking System is the system that, weeds out resumes and just makes the workload of the recruiter easier. Another question that's commonly asked is whether or not to list jobs that are unrelated to what you're applying for, such as like Jimmy John's, Panera Bread. Maybe you worked at Joann's Fabrics. Like, should you list those jobs on a resume? And everybody who I've talked to has said, no, you should list the jobs that are related to and most relevant to what you're applying for. And jobs that show that, you have the skill set required for what you're applying for. Going more into that, when writing job descriptions on a resume, how descriptive should you be? And I would say probably 3 to 4 sentences, probably about a paragraph maybe. And something that's really important to look out for is like your syntax and diction. You don't want to write, like my responsibility for this job was XYZ. I don't know that the word responsibility is a super good term because it kind of restricts how, people may see how motivated you are, I guess. Instead of putting a word like responsibility, maybe put like opportunity, like my opportunity, or I had the opportunity to do XYZ. So just be careful of words that may limit how, motivated you look, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And just when you're writing sentences, you should always make it sound like you had the opportunity and you had the privilege and, you learned this, rather than like, I had this responsibility, I had to do this, this was what was required of me. Because when you write opportunity instead of responsibility, it shows that, you might go above and beyond. You're happy to do more. You're happy to get more experience. You're happy to have more opportunities. Another question I see in my classes is like, how long should a resume be? Is it okay for it to go on for 2 pages? And no, I don't think so. I think that if your resume is going on to 2 pages, then maybe consider doing a 2-column resume where you take about maybe a fourth, maybe a sixth, somewhere in between, a smaller column running vertically on the side of your sheet. And that's where you list your special skills, the programs that you know how to use. Maybe you've won awards or you've had special accolades like scholarship, like merit-based scholarships, or you've been president of a club. That's where all of that would go on the little column on the side. And then the biggest part of your resume should still be your work experience. Another thing is like, should you include a photo of yourself on your resume? And I had one professor who said, absolutely not. Don't even think about it. He used to work in Detroit as a creative director, and he would sometimes weed through the resumes. And he said that whenever he saw a photo of someone on the resume, he would immediately like throw the resume away. I can't remember his reasoning for that, but I guess that was his advice, and that's the most consistent answer from all of my professors is no photo of yourself. Another thing is maybe you have these great connections and references. Should you list these on your resume? And I would say no. Especially if you're somebody who's running out of space and you're struggling to just keep your resume to 1 page, then maybe don't put your references. But maybe if you're on the opposite end of that, maybe you're struggling to fill up a page and you don't have anything else to put, but your resume looks so empty and this and that, maybe then you could list references. But I mean, if that's the case, I would go back and also write longer job descriptions to fill up space. I think that if you're applying to places and they want references, they'll ask on the application. So I don't know that it's necessary to list those on your resume, but you can if you would like to. No, overall, I think that as long as you have work experience, your school, skills, accolades, and awards, I think those are the most important sections you should have. And then I think that it's really important how you format those sections. So, make titles big where they need to be big. If you are maybe writing really good descriptions and you want to bold some keywords so that they jump out at who's ever reading it, you can absolutely bold words here and there. Okay, so those were all of the questions that I wrote up for today. But of course, if you have more, you can write in and let us know, and I'll be happy to, do a resume part 2 or just answer more questions in another episode. But good luck applying. Hopefully your resumes look clean and tidy now.